Hello friends, this is yet another video I've been waiting a long time to do, since February actually, which was when I received the 3 records that I'm about to show you in this episode. As I've mentioned before, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is my favorite Elton John album. It's my favorite album ever recorded by anyone, actually. And as of today, I have about 25 different vinyl editions of the album and something like 11 or 12, I think it's 12 different CD editions. But in many ways, I'm still learning about all the different editions of the album that exist. And one thing I didn't know about until very recently, in fact I think it wasn't until just last year, was that in addition to one colored vinyl edition of the album that DJM released in 1978 in the UK, at least 3 more colored vinyl editions of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road were released the same year, but not in the UK, they were released in Australia. Now before I get to the Australian examples, I'll quickly show you, in case you haven't seen one of these before, but you probably have, quickly show you the UK edition from 1978, DJM's yellow vinyl edition, very bright. The lighting, I'm trying a bit of a new lighting setup here, and I don't think it's working. I look like I'm in some kind of bomb shelter here. Sorry about that. But anyway, this is very yellow, very bright yellow, and very translucent yellow. Actually kind of reminds me of lemon pie filling. And its catalog number was DJE 29001. Yeah, 29001. And it was released during what I call UK DJM's 3rd series of pressings, which were done by CBS, and which usually have yellow labels, like this one, yellow labels in the middle, and were often, though not always, but most often, cut by Strawberry Mastering in Westminster. This yellow vinyl edition is still very popular among Elton collectors. It's definitely a grail, and one that isn't too difficult to get in decent shape if you have about 150 to 200 American dollars to spend on a single copy of something, but there are many available, so. Anyway, so when it comes to 1970s colored vinyl editions of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, that 1978 UK example is usually the first, or sometimes the only example that comes to mind. But other editions exist, and as I said before, those were released in Australia, and according to Discogs anyway, all 3 were released in the same year as the same year as the UK edition, 1978. And there were 3 of them: a yellow vinyl edition, different yellow vinyl edition from the UK version, a red vinyl edition, and a blue vinyl edition. Don't worry, you'll see them very soon. Now, I won't pretend to know much about Australian DJM pressings. I've seen copies of the original Australian DJM release from 1973, which was pressed, of course, on standard black vinyl. Its catalog number was DJLPD 1001 L7025-26. And that original Australian release was distributed by Festival Records, the humongous Australian record manufacturer that existed from the 1950s until about 2005. In its later years, it was part of Rupert Murdoch's media empire. There may have been an earlier yellow vinyl edition of the album in Australia. I'm still not sure about that, and I'll actually return to that topic at the end of this episode, because there are a couple mysteries I need help solving. For now, let's go to the unboxing footage that I shot way back in February. And I want to let you know that these 3 colored vinyl copies were a surprise gift from my friend and loyal viewer Mike, who lives in New Zealand and who's a very serious and accomplished Elton collector. This is the same Mike from New Zealand who gifted me that box of Japanese 45s back in late January. The 3 LPs arrived around the same time that I got my Parlophone copy of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road from the Philippines, if you remember that episode. So thank you so much again, Mike, for your generosity. And I'm sorry, again, that it's taken me almost 5 months to finally do an episode about these 3, the festival trio, as I call them. But it's not always about finding the amount of time you need to do specific things. It's also about finding the right time. And I think this is a good time. So here's the box. It was well packed, and thank you again, Mike, so much for taking the time to package these records so carefully. So I didn't know that Mike was going to send this box, and I didn't know what it contained. So I wasn't expecting to see multiple copies of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, never mind the colored vinyl copies. I knew about the 3 Australian colored variants, and at one point I thought I was going to get these as part of a trade, but Mike ended up just sending them as a surprise gift. And it's dawning on me here that there's more than one copy of the album in this box. And boom! seeing that sticker clued me in. So let's have a closer look at that sticker. It says removable, but I won't dare try removing that. After more than 40 years, it probably would tear the sleeve. And we'll take this first copy out of the clear sleeve. Now by this time, of course, I knew that at least this first copy was a colored vinyl copy. And because the sticker was red, I assumed that it would be the red vinyl edition. But once I opened the cover, boom, I realized that it was the yellow variant, which looks very different from its UK counterpart. The vinyl is as translucent, as you can see here, possibly even more translucent than the UK edition, I think. But this is a different shade of yellow. It looks almost like a shade somewhere between yellow and light gold. And also, unlike the UK edition, it has black DJM labels that look similar, almost identical actually, to the UK DJM First Series labels that we all know so well. I've heard that it's not unusual to find copies of these colored editions with mismatched discs. Not that they left the factory that way, but that previous collectors had mismatched them. So I was pleased to see that this yellow copy was complete with 2 yellow discs. Not that I suspected that Mike would have sent me mismatched copies, but these Australian colored variants are so rare, apparently, that mismatched copies not only exist, but are still desirable to collectors. Now you'll notice that this second disc has a few black specks in the yellow vinyl. Mike explained that it's difficult to find copies completely devoid of these specks. I can imagine the red and the blue editions have specks too, but the specks are probably most noticeable in the yellow vinyl. And there's the credit to Festival Records. And it's Festival Records in Australia. For some time, Festival maintained separate operations in New Zealand, which back in 1973 had distributed the original black vinyl copies of the album there. But I don't know if Festival's New Zealand arm still existed in 1978. I don't believe New Zealand equivalents of these colored editions ever existed. I think these were Australian exclusives. Okay, second copy from the box, and it too has a colored vinyl hype sticker on its cover. It actually might look black here, but it's really a deep blue, and so I began to wonder if this copy was going to be a copy of the blue vinyl edition. And imagine my surprise, because it was a red vinyl copy. Now, according to a past auction listing on EIL.com, the red variant is the scarcest colored variant of Goodbye Elbrook Road out there. So this was indeed a thrill for me to see and to hold in my hands. And the shade of red here is just beautiful. What shade of red is that, by the way? It's I didn't know what to call it. It's too beautiful to be ketchup red. It's too bright to be poppy red. Would you say it's more like a cherry red? It's a very vibrant shade of red, that's for sure. And a yummy shade of red. It actually makes me think of the sweet and sour sauce of the Chinese food buffet. Now, I haven't played these, by the way. I've cleaned them, but I haven't played them, not yet. And there's the second LP, also red. Now, I have a feeling I know what the third copy is going to be, and I have yet another feeling that that copy will probably comprise 2 discs of the same color. It's so generous of Mike to gift these to me. Mike, I really can't thank you enough. Now that I think of it, I've cleaned all 3, and I'm sorry I was wrong. I have played these. Okay, I have played them, because I was going to say all 3 look like they're in great shape, but looks can deceive, which is true, and yet in this case, there's no deception here. I remember now that I was really pleased that they sound about as clean as they appear. Now the sleeves, the actual outer sleeves, are made of thin cardstock, and so I can imagine that finding copies with minty or close to minty sleeves is difficult. These copy sleeves aren't minty, but they aren't too bad. They're in pretty good shape. And here's the third and last copy in the box. I see a blue hype sticker, but so far none of these stickers has matched in color the actual discs inside the sleeve. But this is definitely it. This copy is a blue variant copy. Now the blue may look kind of dull at first, but now just wait till I pick it up. And here we go. And boom! Now isn't that just stunning? Wow! That is very blue. It's as blue as a blue Freezy Pop in the summertime. I think that this is the most beautiful shade of translucent blue vinyl that I've ever seen. This is what I think the 50th anniversary Madman vinyl should have been. Not that propeller vinyl thing that we got. What the hell was that? Anyway, sorry. And I know that the Vinyl Me Please edition of Madman was mainly translucent blue, but it wasn't quite this shade of blue, and it was splatter vinyl, so there were other colors tossed in. And, you know, the Vinyl Me Please edition of Madman is beautiful, sure, but it's not this. Wow. Just wow. Look at that. So as I said, the first two were matched copies. My psychic powers are telling me that this copy's second disc will be blue too. And it is. Fantastic. Fantastic. Wow. So now I have the 3 Australian colored variants, or what I like to call now the Festival Trio of 1978. The yellow, the red, and the blue vinyl editions of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. And remember what I said before, I opened this box the same day that I opened my Parlophone copy of the same album, which was originally from the Philippines. And there it is, that beautiful Parlo label. So February was quite a month for me. In just one day, my Yellow Brick Road vinyl collection increased by 4 copies. And they were not 4 everyday copies of Yellow Brick Road. They're 4 very rare copies. And I know that there are viewers in Australia and New Zealand that know far more than I do about this. So if I get this wrong, I hope that they'll correct me on this. I think there may have been a separate standalone yellow vinyl edition of Yellow Brick Road issued in Australia at another time, possibly earlier than 1978. I've seen a yellow vinyl edition with a custom hype sticker, black with yellow and white text. And that hype sticker celebrates the album reaching $3 million in Australian sales. So was that 1978 or was it another year? For all I know, those copies with the custom hype sticker could have just been, you know, the earliest copies of the yellow vinyl edition that I now have from 1978. And there never was a separate yellow vinyl edition. Again, I don't know. And Discogs is of little help on that specific topic. It does not contain an entry for an Australian yellow vinyl edition different or separate from the one that I just showed you. It gives 1978 as the release year for all 3 Australian colored vinyl editions. Now, I've seen some collector sites list 1 or 2 of these color variants as having been released in 1973, not 1978. And I noticed that the 3 colored variants have the same catalog number and very, very similar runouts as the original Australian black vinyl copies from 1973. But there's no way that an album released in October 73 would have reached that many sales in time for any colored vinyl edition to hit store shelves before the year was out. So there's some mysteries still to solve, and if anyone watching has more information or would like to correct any dates or years or correct anything that I got wrong in this video, please do in the comments, and thank you. And as always, thanks for watching. Please stay tuned with the new Angels album and the Record Store Day Rainbow release earlier this year. A lot of my content scheduled for the spring got behind. I'm actually still catching up. So between January and May, I added a lot of interesting things to my Elton collection, and I want to share those new arrivals with you at some point. So stay tuned. I have more Captain Fantastic related stuff that I want to do. And of course, this fall will mark the 50th anniversary of the Dodger Stadium concert and also of the Rock of the Westies album. And there's a lot to cover there too. So if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. I'm getting very close to 1,000 subscribers, which is a landmark for any YouTuber. I don't plan to monetize this channel, by the way. That wasn't among the channel's original objectives. And so for now, I don't see much benefit to doing that. I would like to reach 1,000 subscribers anyway, because it's been a personal goal of mine for a while now. So, and of course, I thank those of you who have already subscribed. Thank you so much. And if you learned anything new from this video, anything you didn't know before, or hey, you knew it all anyway, but you just enjoyed it, please click like. It really helps the video get seen by even more people. So thanks once more, and I'll see you all again really soon.